Apostrophe CMS onboarding series, UI customization. The admin bar serves as the primary interface for editors, enabling them to create new pieces and pages, manage media files, and handle user roles and permissions. Additionally, it offers access to global configuration settings, locale settings, and the personal settings menu. One of its crucial functions is managing the document publication workflow, providing notification to users with appropriate permissions about documents awaiting approval. In this tutorial, we aim to streamline the admin bar to enhance the process of adding content to pages. We'll also touch on the process of adding custom buttons to further enhance your Apostrophe CMS experience. You can either elect to make the code changes as you follow along with the tutorial, or you can switch to branch sec2-7-UI-customization of the repo that's linked in the comments below. The left side of our current project admin bar has a number of items that could be grouped together. The images, image tags, files, and file tags buttons all open modals that allow for the management of media files. To group these items, we will make a project level extension of the core module and pass in a groups option. Create the modules/add-apostrophe/CMS/admin-bar/index.js file and add in the following code. In the interest of time, I'm going to paste it in, and then we'll take a very brief look at it. We are only creating a single new group with this code, but by passing additional objects in the groups array, we could create as many as we would like. Each of the objects should contain two required properties, items and label. The items array contains the names of individual menu items you want to appear in the dropdown, listed in the order you want them to appear. Note, menu names for piece type items are the name of the piece type, not the label. For core items like images, the name is prefixed, ApostropheCMS/image. The label property provides a label on the admin bar that is displayed to the user. If your project has several locales configured, this string should be added to your project translation JSON files. In this case, we're going to modify both of the previously created JSON files with this new label. By default, the Quick Create menu is located after the other menu items on the left side of the admin bar and contains buttons for creating a new page and any custom piece types. Clicking these buttons will skip the opening of the initial manager modal and opens a new item for editing directly. You can elect to block this default behavior by setting the Quick Create option to false in the modules @apostrophe/CMS page index.js file for pages or any custom piece type module. The creation of a custom menu item is a two-step process. The first step is to add the button to the admin bar using the add function of the @apostrophe/CMS admin bar module. The second is to add browser-side JavaScript to respond to the listener that Apostrophe adds to the admin bar. We won't be using a custom button in this project, but it is a worthwhile exercise to add one to understand where to best add the code for future projects. We are going to add the button through our custom review piece type module. Open the modules review index.js file and insert the following code. I'm going to paste it in the interest of time. The first argument is the name that will be emitted when the button is clicked. It should be unique, and we will return to this when we look at how to listen for that click event. The second parameter specifies the label that appears on the button in the admin bar. If the menu item shows as an icon, this label will still be included, but assigned an apos-sr-only class, making it accessible to screen readers while remaining hidden on the menu bar. The third argument is the permissions required for a user to be able to see the button based on the action it will perform. Setting it to false will let any logged in user view and click the button. Delving into the object of actions and types this argument can take is beyond the scope of this tutorial, but it is covered in the documentation and it is linked below. The final argument is an optional object of properties that dictate the position and display of the custom button. If you're adding multiple custom buttons, they are added in the order that the modules are registered in the app.js file. Setting the last option to true will place the button just to the left of the Quick Create menu icon, irrespective of when it is registered. The context utility option also takes a Boolean value, and if set to true, will cause the button to show up on the right-hand side of the admin bar before any potential localization or the personal settings menu. If you set this option to true, you must also set the icon option to a registered icon name, as was covered in the Creating Widgets tutorial earlier in the series. You can also read about this in the documentation linked below. If we were to spin our project up now, we would see our new button with an anchor icon displayed on the right side of the admin bar. If we were to click it, however, nothing would happen. Next, we need to add JavaScript code to the front end to make it functional. We're going to take advantage of an apostrophe helper, apos.bus. With this helper, we can listen for any apostrophe module to emit a signal. In this case, we're going to be listening for the admin bar to emit a clicked event. Before adding that code, let's briefly review Apostrophe project code organization. Code that extends the app functionality is typically added into the UI Apos folder of a module. Within this folder, there can be any number of folders, but two common ones are the Components and Apps folders. The Components folder is used when adding custom view components to the admin UI. In this case, we are going to add code to the Apps folder. This code will be added to the public apos-frontend, release ID, apos-build.js file at build time. This is in contrast to the JavaScript code that we had added to the UI source folder of the ratings widget. That code gets compiled into the source-build.js in the same public folder. Create a modules, review, UI, apos, apps, custom button.js file and add the following code. I'm going to paste it in and then we'll walk through it. The Apos bus helper allows you to listen for bus events emitted by any other module. In this case, one of the admin bar view components emits the name of which button was clicked using apos.bus.$emit admin menu click name. The code above listens for the admin menu click emission and passes the button name into the callback function. Just for fun, we are logging what button was clicked. Next, we test whether the pass name matches our custom button name and returns early if it doesn't. Otherwise, we run our custom code to perform our custom button function. We can bring our project up and test the button functionality. It is good when altering the admin UI to start your project with the apos_dev environment variable on using apos_dev equals 1 npm run dev. This forces a rebuild of the UI. Normally, this is turned off to save build time between code changes. Once your project is up and you are logged in, you can click on any button in the admin bar. This will result in a message being logged to the browser console. Remember, this is browser-side code, not server-side code. The message should have the name of the button that was clicked. If you click the new custom button, it will log the additional message. Note that the drop-down menus, like the Quick Create menu, will not emit an event. Switching gears, the @apostrophe/settings module allows you to customize the personal settings drop-down menu on the right side of the admin bar. When this module isn't configured, this menu shows the user's display name that was set through the User's Manager modal and can be used to log out. The Starter Kit Essentials project that we used to start this tutorial already has a field for the display name and the password change added. Any schema field that have been added to the @ApostropheCMS user module, either in core or at the project level, can be modified in the personal settings menu. This menu can also be configured to allow the user to select to have the admin UI language remain fixed when they change locales. This requires that the admin locales option of the @ApostropheCMS I18N module be set. Open the modules @ApostropheCMS settings index.js file and replace the existing code with the following that I'm going to paste in. Walking through this code, you can see that the menu is configured through the subforms and groups options. In this case, we are adding 4 subforms, items that will show up as editable fields in the menu grouped into 2 tabs. The first item we are adding will allow the user to change their password. The only configuration we are adding to the object is the required fields key. This property takes an array of strings that are the names of schema fields set in either the @ApostropheCMS user module or in one specific case, the @ApostropheCMS I18N module. This field is configured in the core module to automatically have a protection true property. This will require the user to enter their password in order to change this field. The same property can be added to any subform object to require a password. The password field also automatically sets the help property of the subform to display modify your existing password to the right of the label rather than the actual password. The help string for any subform can be localized to display in the user's preferred language by adding the text of the string to the appropriate language JSON file. The second item we are adding is the display name. This will alter the value of the existing title field in the user schema. Note that within the user's manager, the slug and username fields follow the title. Changing the display name from the user's manager will alter these two fields. However, these fields will not be altered when using the personal settings menu. We are also adding a reload true property. This will cause the site to reload after the information in this field is updated. Otherwise, the display name wouldn't change until the user manually refreshed the page. We don't need to add a label property because the @ApostropheCMS settings module will automatically use the label for the title field from the existing @ApostropheCMS user module configuration. The third subform we are adding will actually alter the value of two user fields, last name and first name. In this case, we are passing the label property to set what is displayed to the user. Otherwise, the module would use the label for the first schema field added to the fields array, in this case, last name. We are also adding a preview property with a string that looks like Nunchuck's templating. This actually leverages I18 Next as a templating system, allowing us to reorder and localize the input to match the preferred locale. In place of preview or help, we could also use the preview component property to add a custom view component for modifying and displaying the input. You can read more about this property in the reference documentation linked below. Finally, we are adding an input so that the user can change their preferred UI language. This field will need further configuration in the @ApostropheCMS I18N module to be functional. The groups option works in the same way as the schema field groups option. Each of the subform items can be added to a named tab with a label property and an array of subforms names added to the subforms property. Open the modules @ApostropheCMS I18N index.js file and modify the options to include the following code. Adding the admin locales to your @ApostropheCMS I18N module options will automatically add a menu for language preference to the user's manager. Our @ApostropheCMS settings module configuration will add it to the personal settings menu. The default admin locale option will set the language of the admin UI to be fixed to a specific locale. This can be overridden by the user selecting another locale or by the user selecting to change the UI language to match the current locale. If this option isn't present, the UI language will match the selected locale by default. Finally, we need to configure the @ApostropheCMS user module for the extra fields we added to the personal settings menu. Create a modules @ApostropheCMS user index.js file and add the following code. In this code, we only need to add the first name and last name fields. All the other fields, like title or change password, already exist in core or are added by other modules. Now, if we spin our site up, we can see that the personal settings menu has changed considerably and has all of our new settings. In this tutorial, we focused on enhancing the functionality and user experience of the admin bar in ApostropheCMS. We began by organizing related menu items into a single group to make navigation more intuitive. Additionally, we explored how to add a custom button to the admin bar and walked through the process of adding front-end JavaScript to make this button functional. Finally, we covered how to customize the personal settings menu, allowing users to change their passwords and display names directly from the admin bar. This only scratches the surface of the modifications that can be made to the admin UI. In addition to changing the admin bar, you can also add custom schema fields, custom manager modals, customized ApostropheCMS rich text widget controls, and more. You can read about these modifications in our documentation pages. Next, we're going to look at how to add an extension from Apostrophe's library of modules. Not only are these extensions useful for adding functionality to your projects, but they are also useful for better understanding the Apostrophe codebase. We will use this as an opportunity to look at how we can bundle our own custom modules that can be brought into multiple projects. If you have any questions about this tutorial or want more help starting your Apostrophe CMS project, please join our vibrant community in Discord. You can join right now by following the link in the comments. We hope that you will continue along with our tutorial series and subscribe to the other great videos in our channel.